Hi there, welcome back to Shelf 5 Week 2. We are on to classics and then a couple of the shorter animal molds. This is the Black Beauty mold and this is the Ginger mold. These two guys were special runs for State Line Tack, mid-1990s, 95, somewhere in there. I really like the patterns on them. I thought they were pretty. I like the big pintos and particularly like the buckskin, so that's why I keep these two, and there's a foal to go with them that we'll see eventually, I think. These three are from a Sears special run. I think they were an Olympic release. It's Keen, Midnight Tango, Might Tango, and Jet Run. They're from the late 80s, like 88-ish. This is, I think, Keen. I'm not awesome on the molds, but I think this is Keen and Chestnut. I think this is Might Tango, could be Jet Run, and then this would be the other one in the bay. And got these guys at Artisans Gallery for a good price, so they outdid my original run of the equestrian team of these molds. This guy is one of my test runs. I actually bought this guy at Breyer Fest back in 1993. This is the Phantom Wings rough coat mold in an apricot dun. It was my first ever Breyer Fest, and at this particular one, it was a very put together auction. So we were out by the old tobacco barn. There was no lights. People were just pulling up their cars, and the headlights were how we had light. There really wasn't much of a program. You just kind of bid on stuff. So I got him for the princely sum of $100, which was convenient because that is exactly how much I had saved up for my first test run. Then we have a gray bucking bronco. This is the most rare of the three original colors, bay, black, and gray. And this one I actually traded a friend for. I think I had the bay, and she liked the bay better, and so I traded her for the gray. So I still have this one on my shelf. These two guys are from the Fun Foals gift sets. I don't know the molds. They're pretty new, and I just used to always buy all of the Fun Foals, so I'm sure we'll run into a bunch more of those. This is the Sicilian donkey, and he's very heavy. But he's just a nice regular run because I have to have one of every mold. Now we get into some fun stuff. This is actually a gold elephant. They were created as a sort of a test, is my understanding. And they did an elephant, they did a buffalo, there might have been one of the bull molds. I can't remember. It's been a long time. This is from the 50s, kind of an experimental thing. He has this Hoover and Curtis flag on him that didn't come with him, but I leave it there because it protects the gold. So you can see the gold here is nice and shiny where the ribbon was, and then it's duller the rest of the piece. Very, very rare. Not a lot of these at all out there, and I actually bought him at an antique store in Pomona during Jamboree. So you can even find good stuff at antique stores when there's a big model event going on. Then we have, this is the Battleship Gray elephant. I really don't need this many elephants, but they're variations, so you have to keep them, right? This is the Battleship Gray, where he's shot in solid gray, and then he just has the black on his eyes. This is a chalky elephant in very nice condition for a chalky, actually. I don't see hardly any, if any, rubs on him, which is uncommon because the chalkies have very much more fragile paint. And the only place you can see that he's a chalky really is on his tusks, because that's the only white that you have. And then in the donkeys, pretty much the same thing. I have the Battleship Gray donkey. He is shot in just the real heavy, solid gray with a little more accent. He has a little black on his mane and tail and eyes. And then this guy I bought in a giant case. I bought an original unopened case of donkeys at Brimfield Antique Flea Market back in early 90s. They were still in their original cardboard mailers. I forget how many there were, maybe 25 of them, unopened in box. And so I opened them, and this was my favorite. He's a very, very dark, and he's gray plastic, and he's really, really nice. It's not a very popular mold, but he is beautiful condition, beautiful shading. So I kept him. This is an exceptionally rare hog on the Jasper the Market hog mold. This is the Hampshire. He is a Midwest hog producer special run. We don't know how many they made because they were made not for the hobby. They were made for hog raisers. And so they're guessing maybe in the neighborhood of 200. This was back in the 60s. There's not a lot of them in collections because they didn't go to collectors, so we just get them kind of secondhand. And this is another piece that I bought from the Black Horse Ranch collection. So I keep the cards with those models so that keeps them and makes them even more special. This is the Brighty, the donkey from the Misty Ashinkatig story. He is a chalky and actually decent condition. He's got some rubs on his ears, but again, the only place you can really see is in the legs and the nose. And kind of in this mold, because he's so rough, you can kind of see the white in the between the coat where the gray couldn't catch when they were painting him. These are two of the original cats. This is the Calico and this is the Siamese. I really like the Siamese with the blue eyes, metallic blue eyes. I think they're cool. And they actually did a pretty nice job on the Calico too with the paint job. So I'm not a cat collector, but I have to have a couple because that's what you do, right, when you're a collector. This is Tiffany from the Benji and Tiffany set, and I am sure somewhere we will find Benji. I think he's a shelf down because I have him in his original box. This one you can find in antique stores sometimes because his Breyer mark isn't as easy to find, so you can find Tiffany a little easier. It's Benji's girlfriend. This is Lassie in a really pretty gloss. I've never really tested him to see whether this is an original gloss or applied afterwards by a collector. I found him in an antique store, but it's a really nice paint job on the Lassie mold. And so someday I'll check him out and see if that's original or not. This is Rin Tin Tin, another original dog from a television series in very nice condition. I found him in an antique store. And then last for this shelf is this mold, the small poodle. This is one of the rarest molds that Breyer has made because in his original incarnation back in the 50s, he was not released. There's only 1 or 2 test salesman samples out there, and I think they're in purple or lavender or some odd color, and they don't have their tails. After they refound the mold, which is a story in and of itself, they decided to retool it and release it, and so these were part of a raffle that they had at Breyer Fest back in the late 90s, I think. Nobody knew about the raffle. They didn't announce it, so it was poorly attended. And I ended up buying this from someone else who won one of them. The only other release on the small poodle mold was the Breyer Fest cotton candy in the pink and white, which I also have, but is in my bathroom because I have a pink and white 50s bathroom. So that'll wrap it up for this week, and it was a good shelf. Next week we'll get into some chinas, so that'll be a little bit of a change of pace. Hope you join me. Thank you.